I was emaciated and absolutely dying. And there hit a point where it was this light ease that said, I'm going to die now. I'm Katy Rose. I am a functional medicine diagnostic nutritionist. I was just absolutely consuming massive amounts all the time. And then I would binge and purge. I was on a long list of psych meds. I was in liver failure and on my deathbed, and they were patting me on the head going, well, it looks like you've lost some weight. Good job. Keep up doing what you're doing. I'd be dead. Nutrition, gut microbiome, all of these things feed into the mental health. The mental health feeds into your choices. So how do we repair that at the root of what's been damaged by antibiotics and poor nutrition and environmental toxins that derail us as humans?
Even like with my autoimmune, going to different doctors, they've like tried to give me so much medicine. I don't want medicine. Like, just help me figure out the root of it so I can fix it.
I was like, why does this keep happening? I've been to one doctor after another. Trauma can become wisdom, and wisdom
100%
can become your greatest joy.
Welcome to Bear It All with Lindsey, you guys. I'm so excited for my guest. Okay, so I love Lacey is one of my dear friends, and she called me and she was like, I have somebody you got to have on. And I trust Lacey because Lacey's like me. We love to have kick-ass, badass women in our circle, right? No negative vibes allowed.
No
you
negative
gotta
vibes.
be just going after life and positive and everything else to be in our circle. So I'm like, you're in our circle, you need to be in my circle. So I'm so excited
Lucky
to have
me.
you. And even more exciting, you guys have a new book out.
We
right?
totally do.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. So introduce yourself and tell us
Okay.
a little bit about your new book.
Okay. Well, I'm Katy Rose. I am a functional medicine diagnostic nutritionist, short, a functional medicine practitioner in that greater sense of the word. And my whole journey has been so in alignment with your journey, which is we can come back from anything.
Yes.
Anything,
no, that's my
mofo,
vibe.
like,
Yes.
morbid obesity, sex addiction, food addiction that was so severe I was getting fired from jobs left and right, upside down mental health, morbid obesity, just on and on and on. So my 20s and 30s were a hot mess. I was in crisis and didn't even know how to fix it. All, trauma from childhood, trauma from the journey, things that took place that you don't quite know how to fix in yourself yet.
Right.
Diving into the mental health side of things, diving into my gut microbiome and understanding mental health through nutrition was a huge part of my journey. And then, now I have this beautiful practice where I help people understand that the thing that's in their way is not themselves. Willpower is not a myth. Willpower is a myth is what I say, because nutrition, gut microbiome, all of these things feed into the mental health. The mental health feeds into your choices. So how do we repair that at the root of what's been damaged by antibiotics and poor nutrition and environmental toxins that derail us as humans? And how to get back into this space where we're celebratory and on fire.
Right. Oh
really
my God.
on fire
No,
for
I love
life,
that.
right?
No, 100%.
Yeah.
I can't wait to dig in that more.
I
So
know.
backing up real
Okay.
quick. So
Yeah.
you talked about in your 20s, the struggle and about trauma. And that was such a great point I want to touch on real quick.
Yeah.
So a lot of us have trauma, whether it's self-induced, whether it's from our childhood, anything, and it affects us so
much.
People don't realize that. And there's trauma where some of the traumas from like a relationship, you got cheated on, you got used, you got dumped, your parents were addicts or alcoholics, like all these traumatic events.
Yeah.
If you don't get in there and clean house, it will follow you.
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
talk a little bit about that, about how that trauma followed you and affected you?
Well, I think it's important for people to understand there's the big T and the little t, right? There's the little traumas that may be these
Sure.
little ways that we process things. There may be things that are, they call it a big T, where it's like a real egregious happenings.
Like a death of your parent or
or
something.
massive abuses or
Right. Okay,
neglects or sexual abuse, or there's all. But what's really important is trauma is not what happened to you. Trauma is how you've processed it and perceived it.
Oh my gosh, that's so
So somebody
yeah.
could be sitting so deeply. You look at them, you go, "Girl, you've had a pretty good life. I don't really know what your problem is."
Right.
But the truth is their mechanism, how they were, their sensitivities maybe set them up so that they receive that in a way that rocks their world, right? And so if we
Yeah.
really have grace for understanding that it doesn't matter what happened to you, it matters how you receive it and perceive it. And that's where the work has to come in. Now I need to go back. I need to look at how I received that. I need to process what did I need at that time and find out how to be my own parent now, right? And how to give myself that was failed upon me or that
Right.
somebody did to me and left my. A lot of times we betray ourselves for others, whether it's a boyfriend,
100%.
a parent. We give and give and give, and that is a message we're constantly sending to ourselves. So the first neglector is us to us, right? But we're trying to fit in society. We're trying to learn. And all these wounded individuals that are raising us and teaching us, and they're just wounds walking around, right?
100%. Oh my God,
Yeah.
I love this that you're talking about this because people don't talk about this enough, even in like AA or like NA or other recovering things, or even I teach in like my coaching and mindset coaching is overcoming trauma. Part of it is getting it out on paper and looking at your role in it.
Yes, ma'am.
And there is so many times people are stuck on the victim mentality. Like, but they did me wrong. They did this. He cheated on me. She did this. She did that. Well, you
Life
put yourself,
happens.
yeah, you kept going back to that person, or you didn't have proper boundaries, or you know, sometimes something happened when they're under the influence. But what was your part in that? Well, you got wasted drunk and passed out somewhere. So not that it's your fault, but finding your role in
your
it.
contribution.
Yes, really helps people be able to like take accountability for it and overcome it and release it. Because when they're so stuck on like the victim, poor me, poor me, poor me, they can't get over that.
Yeah. There's it's a Positive Intelligence is the name of a book, and I never say the author's name right, so I won't say it. It's like something like Shazad Hameen, something like that.
Oh yeah, I would have chopped that one too. I would not have been able to say that.
So it's positive intelligence, just like you have. So it's PQ, like your IQ, your EQ, your emotional intelligence.
Okay,
So positive intelligence. What I like about this is and this wraps into a lot of other types of therapies, but understanding that we have saboteurs in us that do little things, and the victim is one of those. The pleaser is one of those. The hypervigilant, the control freak. They're all part of that. And so our sage is our deepest knowing, our best self, what we know when everything just is settled in us, what we would tell a friend if we saw they were in crisis, how we would advise. But then the flip side, we have this inner critic, and we maybe picked up that inner critic from parents, teachers, relationships. And so those two are kind of duking it out unnecessarily.
Right.
The way we cope, the way we showed up. So maybe we had a parent that was hypercritical, and we jumped into, if I control everything and I manage all the parts and I'm a type A personality, then I can put a little container on this. Or, oh, I'm a victim and they did this to me. It's a coping mechanism. It's a coping conversation.
Is a coping. Right.
And so if we can go in and kind of look at these parts, what is our contribution? So if somebody wants to be the victim to what happened to themselves, they're not stepping into their sage knowing that says, you know, that person, they were abused as a child and now they're carrying on that abuse. And I was continually going back to them to let them abuse me because, you know, I was in a state of feeling codependent need.
Oh, codependent's a huge one.
You know, all of these parts, right? So I love what you say about checking in with yourself on this. And so a huge part of my work, it's really funny that we're talking about the mental, emotional side, because these are the things that keep people from doing what they desire and want to do with their health.
Oh my gosh, 100%.
I know
Holds
what
it back
to do.
in every aspect of life. And so let's talk a little bit about how that rolls into your health, because I feel like it all plays roles, right?
Yeah. And the nervous system, right?
Oh,
this
100%.
dysregulated nervous system we're all walking around because we're stimulated by cars, and you can't get out at the gas station without having a TV come at you.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear
right,
more about this.
Right? All these little pieces, when our DNA, on a DNA level, we are villagers. We were supposed to know 150 people and not know the crisis of the world. We weren't supposed to, you know, like our DNA for eons was built with that container, and now we've exploded with the information age. We've exploded with population and with large cities.
Technology,
And it's
all of it. Right.
And it's like the lion is coming after us, and we're constantly in a fight or flight or freeze, right? Or
Right.
fawn. Fawn is, I'm just going to kiss everybody's butt because that's going to make everything okay.
And
right?
I feel like that is a lot of codependency behaviors as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So the nervous system being dysregulated, and this is where we get into the neurotransmitters and what's actually happening in the brain. So we look at, for instance, the hypothalamus, that's that root space where we jump into these reactive spaces. What can we do to bring that down, to tell ourselves we're safe? Well, most people are like this in their system. I mean, even being here today, I'm a little like that, right? Because I'm in a foreign environment. So we're a little tight. Well, if you think about like a gazelle on the Sahara, they're relaxed, they're chill, they're eating them grass, eating a little grass. The lion comes, what happens to the hindquarters? Haunched up, right? I might have to flee, right? So they haunch up. Well, we're kind of walking around like that all the time. So biophysically, we're sending a message to our hypothalamus, our brain center, that we're in crisis. And so the chemistry for that, the cortisol pattern starts, right? So one of the things that I teach people is the deep belly breaths that go expansively into the pelvic floor. So you actually feel what I call your undercarriage.
Right.
Expand and relax and release. And that when we do that, we tell our body, you're well, you're safe.
Right.
Filling that belly with air. Walking around like on this podcast today, like holding in a little extra tummy. I always have the tummy. I've always had the tummy. Holding that in. But like the release of that and dropping into my seat tells my whole body and my brain, you're okay. You're okay. There's no lion chasing you. Chill the F down.
That's so wild. How much do you think that people's trauma plays into like their health? So for instance, my story, I was a drug addict for 12 years and not just like a little on the weekend. I'm talking about daily, like homeless.
Yeah. Your story's amazing.
Like as low as they get, like right there with the next step would have been dying from my addiction.
Yes, ma'am.
And when I got sober, I started noticing like I have an autoimmune and my body, if I've went to every single doctor, I've had every MRI, everything, and they're like, we don't know what's wrong. We don't know what's wrong. And it's like, I know it's autoimmune because if like my immune system is, affected in any way, I can feel all these symptoms. Yeah. And I've really had to like I've hired like outside doctors, specialists, all this. And I found that like gluten, dairy, processed foods, sugars, caffeine, like all of these things affect it. But I truly believe that all the drama and like trauma and just all that I did to my body in my addiction caused what I have going on now.
Well, first of all, everybody, you're the expert of you.
Right.
Your intuition is telling you that. There's a knowing. I talk all the time about stories where somebody will go to the doctors, and they're like, we're not finding anything. Your labs are clean. And the part of the problem with that system is they don't diagnose properly. They don't do enough diagnostic testing. So for me, I was in liver failure and on my deathbed, and they were patting me on the head going, well, it looks like you've lost some weight. Good job. Keep up doing what you're doing. I'd be dead, right? I had to go find out more information on the lab level, what was happening in my body. So I say to people, follow your intuition. Don't stop turning over those stones. As far as the nervous system goes, absolutely. So one, you're feeling this intuition, so follow that. Two, one of the things two categories on this that I like to share examples. One is women who have not felt like they've had the ability to express themselves safely are the highest rate of thyroid cancer and throat cancer.
Really?
The Body Keeps the Score is an amazing book, and it talks about literally the somatic response where we hold injury, emotional injury in our body. So one, that's a beautiful example of right on the money with that. The other thing, too, that I like to remind people is, well, people just don't know this. I like to tell them and then help them understand it, is if I use the example of a concussion. I'll have a client who comes to me and they can't figure out what's going on with their extreme gut issues, maybe 20 minutes of food and they're running to the bathroom. And it's just they can't keep anything in. They're malnourished, extreme diarrhea, extreme issues in the body. And so we start dissecting it, doing the intake interview of their health story. And all of a sudden it'll come to me. I'll be like, so this came on suddenly out of nowhere. You've always had good stomach health before then. When did you have a concussion? Did you have a concussion 6 months before that? And they're like, what? How are you getting to this? So a concussion is the head will hit and it sends a shock wave through the brainstem. The vagus nerve runs through the brainstem and runs to the stomach. And it's the biggest nerve in the body, and it's the connection between the brain and the stomach. This is why your stomach is the second brain. When that shock wave happens, it's like a sonic boom in that gut that goes off, and it annihilates and kills gut microbiome. As it's killing those gut microbiome, within a slow process of them dissipating and disappearing, all of a sudden your gut can't do what it's supposed to and no longer can process your food. So if that shock through a physical shock can do that to our gut, think about all the emotional traumas. They're like little sonic booms.
So wild.
Little sonic booms that are traveling. So I've had in my life, and many people have, an upsetting moment that rocked you.
Oh, yeah. We all have. Yeah.
You've seen something, you were told something, and it rocked you. It changed you forever. That traveled. So, and autoimmune is in large part a response to the gut.
It is. My gut, like it definitely is always surrounded by my gut. So like when I'm in a flare up or not feeling well, I always have gut issues. So it's like indigestion, my stomach hurting.
Yeah.
Like I can always tell that it is connected to my gut.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
I love for people to get a full panel of their gut microbiome. I love for people to get that full panel.
No, it's wild how your gut just has so much, like it just controls so much in your body. So you had talked about being on your deathbed, liver failure, all that. I want to back up a little bit and tell us about this because when I talked to you on the phone, you had an incredible story of overcoming and just building this life from your deathbed. And so I want to talk about that because I love hearing stories where women or men, anybody comes back from the depths of hell.
Yes.
They come back and I found.
People talk about the dark night of your soul. I'm like, which one?
Girl, 12 years. 12
your
years
journey
of that shit.
Yeah, your journey's beautiful.
But that's what makes us who we are today. That is true. I swear, the people I've met that have been through the most trauma, first off, they're the funniest people I ever met. Because if anything, we're funnier than shit.
Yeah, what can you do but laugh about it?
Yes.
I know.
I swear that I've never been around funnier people than in rehab. I literally laughed for like 90 days straight in rehab because everybody's been through just trauma after trauma, so they're funnier than shit.
Little things that go wrong that'll throw somebody off. It's like, meh. You know, it's
you
like
can
we
laugh
can,
it off.
like laugh it off. Like life is funny.
Love
Life will show you. You better laugh.
You're so cute. No, I just love that. So tell us a little bit about your journey and about those moments, like on your deathbed, and where you didn't know if you were going to have another day on this earth, and look at you today.
Thank you. Okay. So trauma can become wisdom, and wisdom
100%
can become your greatest joy. I love where I've been. So
I love that.
Just massive amounts of childhood trauma that I don't usually get into in a public space because those people still exist in the world.
Okay.
And I'm
fair enough.
I'm a very much a grace-filled person. People are wounded, people wound, right?
Hurt people.
Yeah.
That's so true. 100%.
Yeah. And so I have a lot of love and forgiveness, and that's the work that I've done, right? And so I really encourage everybody, for your best life, go do that really tough work to figure out how to love the person that hurt you. And that's horrendous, and I'm sorry to say it. Like it's like so much. It's so weighted, right?
Resentment hurts you.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt the other person. They could give a shit less that you hate them. It is not affecting them. That is weighing on your soul.
Yeah.
That is so true.
One of my favorite quotes is by Mark Twain, and it's kind of a complicated one, but I think it's really beautiful in its complexity. It says that forgiveness is the scent left that forgiveness is the scent that the violet leaves on the heel that crushed it.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
so it's kind of profound, but
Very profound. I like it.
But so tons of trauma, massive eating disorder. By the time I was 12 years old,
Okay.
I was severely bulimic. There was a lot of just issue in the household with body, and a lot of things were put on me to have a continuum of severe body issues. And there were other physical abuses and other traumas that were in the house. But the one that stayed with me was this I'm in service to everybody else. Like I had a
Okay.
Cinderella complex.
Okay.
So the Cinderella complex, the eating disorders, the body dysmorphia. And because of a denial of food, I had this perception that I became addicted to food, severely addicted.
Okay.
So
it went the complete opposite.
yeah. So the very thing that was supposedly being prevented
Right.
was what was induced. And
Okay.
so I was just absolutely consuming massive amounts all the time. And then I would binge and purge. And that went on into my early 20s. And then at a certain point, I started working on stopping that. But I couldn't stop the binging. And my life in my 20s and 30s consisted of 30-minute rotations, literally, of chasing food, eating food, feeling guilty for food, chasing food, eating food, feeling guilty for food. And that would go on all hours of the night and day.
What a horrible feeling.
I would,
too.
just never could get enough. Sitting in the car with bags and bags of candy corn was my drug of choice. If I could have melted it down and put it in my vein, I would have. It was
Really? Wow.
ridiculous. So Halloween's really hard on me still. And so just this massive, massive consuming, couldn't fit in airplane seats at a certain point, stopped buying clothing at size 20, was then wearing large men's hand-me-downs, obese men's hand-me-downs,
Wow.
just totally upside down. My mental health, I was on a long list of psych meds, and I was constantly in a rotation of, 3 weeks of missing out from work, getting fired from a job, putting myself out there. I've always had a little bit of sparkle in me, so I was able to get a new job and win people over.
Sure.
And I really wanted it, and I really wanted to be that person who was showing up that day, but consistently fired from jobs, car wrecks. My mental health was so upside down. I was just laughing with Lacey about how many car wrecks I had.
Really?
And I was
Oh my
have
God.
car will wreck.
Shit.
It's just constant. And then in my 30s, the sexual addiction. Absolutely, just this dopamine chase constantly. And then that even interfered with work and life and relationships. And it was just, a huge, huge aspect of always not living so much in that moment that I wasn't living a life or commanding a life. And when I was at my nervous system was so dysregulated that if I was at a party, I used to say I was like Robin Williams on cocaine all over the place,
Sure.
right? Do you remember
Yeah.
the old 1980s Robin Williams? I was like that. And people were like, I would see people side-eye me, right? The side-eye.
So much judgment.
Yes. But I was so... I dysregulated their nervous system by just being in the room with them, right? And they didn't like it. And so my continuum was eventually I discovered I couldn't stop any of these habits. I couldn't change anything. What I now understand is my gut microbiome was severely jacked. This jacked my mental health. That was the willpower is a myth kind of thing where I was not able to attend to what I needed. I couldn't make a decision, have executive function, and stick to it because I was so messed up. And so I started working with the work of Dr. Daniel Amen, who is the foremost leader in brain scan technology. This was all me just reading. I was poor.
love this stuff.
I was broke, right? And I
Yeah.
needed to know. I was like, I know who I am on the inside. I know I'm alive. I know I'm a live wire. I know I'm witty. I know I'm smart. And none of this is coming out to anybody, including me in the mirror. And this is not who I am. And that gut knowing, right, that I tell everybody, I'm like, you know in there how freaking fabulous you are. We all do. We all have that glimmer in the mirror where we're like, but then we shoot it down. The first thought was the thought that was the
truth. It's like that spark within, but it's got to find its way.
Yeah. Don't shoot it down in the mirror. The truth was the first one, the first part that was like, hey, I'm a little fly today, right?
I see you. I'm here.
Exactly.
I'm here.
Exactly. And it's such a beautiful piece of every one of us. And the broken people will crush it out of you. You will crush it out of yourself when you're broken. So,
you will.
So don't believe any of that. So I'm sitting there in this deep knowing, and I just start chasing everything I can find out, because he had the understanding of Change Your Brain, Change Your Life was the first book I read of his.
Okay.
And it had everything to do with, if I change my midnight snack from a carbohydrate to a protein, then I'm going to have more faculty tomorrow. I'm going to have more function of my brain. And I started tweaking these little things. I couldn't give up food at bedtime, right? I had this scarcity in me, this nervous system reaction of scarcity. But I could switch it out. And I did. And immediately I saw more cognition the next day.
That's so wild how something like that connects to your brain, but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And so I did that.
So intriguing.
Got a little better at that. Pick the next thing he said, got a little better at that. So one of my philosophies is a smidge a day, just a little every day. And so just get good at something. And when you feel confident, do a little bit more of something else and build on that. And so over the course of a year, I got off of all psych meds and accidentally lost 90 pounds.
Good. Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, and it was accidentally because I was leaning into the mental health. That was the driver. I had succumbed to, I'm a fat girl. This is who I am. I don't know why I'm like this, but this is how it's always going to be. But I need to function in this world. I need to be inspirational.
I love that. Mm-hmm. And isn't it wild how, like, if something's not wrong or something's not right in your mental health, you will go for anything to fill that emptiness.
Yes, ma'am.
So whether it's drugs, it's like people think drugs and alcohol is the actual problem. No, this is the problem. Yeah. That's your solution for the problem. That is your solution. And it can go so many different ways. Like even in my recovery, I found myself like there's times where I'm like on it and my mental health is super great. And there's times where I found myself, like you said, a sex addiction. Yeah. I went through a stage where I had like 5 boyfriends and I'm like, calm your ass down.
It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Okay, that one just hung up with me.
I get super bored and then you're like, fuck, so-and-so found out about so-and-so and then damn it, it was like so much work. And I'm like, I don't even like them that much. Like that's so much work.
And just
but it was like filling the void and constantly like having the texts, hey, beautiful, hey, gorgeous, what are you doing? Roses.
Why? Because you didn't have it on the inside. You were having to get it from the outside.
It was filling a void. And then after I thought about it, I'm like, that's like such a temporary void. And then when I noticed that, I'm like, okay, so I have some work to do. Yeah. There's something missing inside.
I love you so much right now.
Oh, I love you.
I'm like, that feels so good and
right. It's so true.
Yeah.
I have so many friends that's like their thing. They have like 3 or 4 guys and they want like the good morning text. And I started thinking about that and I'm like, man, fuck you. I'm trying to do my hair and makeup. I don't have time to say good morning to all you guys. And then later I've learned like right now,
everybody's chasing the dopamine hit from one another.
It is, and it's
like
so
a bunch of crazy
work.
people.
And honestly, having like one solid relationship when you're whole inside is way better than like all of these guys. But it's a dopamine hit.
Well, and it is a dopamine hit. That one solid relationship starts here. Like if I,
oh my God,
like I can get all of that dopamine hit from everybody and it not be enough because I haven't aligned with it in here, right? And I tell people, I tell them, think about a lover's relationship. And, you know, in the beginning, somebody starts, you know, making a lot of time for you and giving you attention. You trust them because they're showing you that you're a priority.
Sure.
But as time goes on, they do less of that. They dismiss you. Whatever you're thinking is like, oh, that's baloney or whatever. That's literally what we're doing on the inside to us. Think of yourself as 2 lovers on the inside. Because whenever we're constantly dismissing ourselves, we are teaching ourselves that we can no longer be loved or trusted by ourselves. It's only when we're accepting, loving, saying, you know what, you're the priority over X, Y, and Z. Right. You're the priority. I'm here for you first, right?
It's building those proper boundaries and standards. When I first got sober, I didn't date for actually years. I just focused on building my life and like my kids and all of that. And I actually didn't date for like the first, I want to say like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And that was a game changer because I really found myself, and I wasn't in a place to date because you find somebody that matches your energy. So I was super broken and had nothing. So if I dated somebody, I was going to find some other jackass that's in the same position as me. And then it just be to the lost, the lost bleeding the lost. And so
and it would have kept you there longer. You wouldn't have been able to rise up.
So until I was a person that I would date myself, I didn't want to start dating again. Because I wasn't going to find what I needed, and I just wanted to like love myself.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I got us a little sidetracked to kind of get to the part where I'm eventuating onto a deathbed. I mean, to this, I've kind of given a...
You're good. Like, I'm so ADD. We'll be 7 conversations and we can go back. We're good.
I love it. I'm like, I'll take you
out on this podcast. Okay. This is an ADD accepted podcast. We're good. I love it. We could be on 7 different subjects, but let's go back to the deathbed.
Well, it's just kind of funny because, like all of these parts just have so much meat to them, right?
They do.
Every journey, every person's going through. It's like when you've had multiple opportunities to bust through, right? And it's
wild.
That onion, that crust coming off more and more. And so at that point, I'm feeling pretty good in my jeans. I'm down. I'm like, my mental health is much more stabilized. I'm holding down a steady job for years. Okay. Like things are going well. I end up with, but I always had massive stomach issues nonetheless. It was just a constant. I always felt like I was the first one to get sick. I always felt like I'm working out and I'm eating cleaner than anybody I know now because I had progressed, right? I just kept getting better and better. And I was really dedicated and really clean. But I couldn't get muscle on my body. I was just feeling like I wasn't getting gains in the gym. At one point, I get a really bad sinus infection. And this is when I still would go for antibiotics sometimes. And I went to the urgent care, and they gave me a very high dose of Cipro, which is a very high aggressive antibiotic. 6 months later, I couldn't walk across the room without collapsing. I had 4 major bowel blockages that year. I couldn't eat more than a morsel at a time without throwing it up. I was on medical leave from that great job that I was holding down. I would have, I'd sleep. I'd get up and I'd have an enema, and I'd have bone broth, and I'd crawl my way back to bed. And no doctor could figure it out. We were doing the colonoscopies. We were doing all of the lab work. And they were petting me on the head and saying, "Looks like you've lost a lot of weight. Keep up the good work." And we just couldn't figure it out. And I actually I know this point in my journey where I was so tired. I couldn't lift blankets off my body. They were too heavy. A simple blanket. I was emaciated and absolutely dying. And there hit a point where I succumbed to that. It was this light ease that said, "I'm going to die now." And I dropped into that space.
Oh, you just gave me goosebumps. Ugh.
And I had a beautiful angel friend from my past that had died a number of years before. And she showed up and she pulled me away from that door, away from that entry point. And it was this really weird moment, and I talk about it actually in The Power of Inner Sparkle. That's what my chapter is about. I've been so blessed to be in this book, and while I mentioned the book, within 12 days we were number 1 in 4 countries in our category.
Show us the book as you're talking about it, so everybody can see it and they can go get it.
Where
just straightforward.
So
The Power of Inner Sparkle.
It's 12 women's stories of resilience and overcoming. And it's, everything from a Christian point of view to a more agnostic point of view. It's a real mix. And
I love that. I mixture like that.
I think that we are eclectic, we are diverse, we are complex. And I love that it puts that in there. And so we were really excited because we got the number 1 sticker in the first 12 days. And so 4 freaking countries. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You guys are freaking amazing.
It's amazing. And so that's how I met Lacey, and I adore her.
Dude, Lacey's going to be on here next month, but I got to know. So your friend boos you. You're feeling like you're going to pass. Tell me from there. Okay, so, how are you here now?
So at that point, there was a really weird moment. So she always made bracelets for me, like she was a crafter. She always had to keep her hands
like
busy.
Melanie. Friendship bracelets.
Okay. Yeah, it was a massive part of like my world with her. And all of a sudden there was just this moment where like I turn and I'm weak, I'm hardly with it. I turn and I see my wrist, and all of a sudden it just looked beautiful to me. And I like had to have those bracelets. And so in this whole part of the story was, hours and hours, but I was able to muster the strength, which I couldn't lift blankets off my body. So the fact that I was able to kind of claw myself to my jewelry box and get them on my arm and then claw myself back to bed. And then that was there was a switch in me that went from, I'm going to release everything now, I'm stepping through. Like everything started to go dark, right? And then I started to have that transition, and then she appeared before me. And then all of a sudden when I came back, it's like I was obsessed with, I had to have beauty. I needed to celebrate beauty. And from that point on, that was that turning point that kept me from there. But what unfolded after that in the real world was a series of events that I still don't understand. And I ended up in a functional medicine practitioner's office. It was an old friend who had been a chiropractor that I didn't even know he had gone to the Institute of Functional Medicine. And I'm, clumped in the chair, can't hold myself up, emaciated, gray. And he's like, we're going to get you well. And he was passionate about it. And he ran more lab tests than I ever could understand. And he said, girlfriend, you have 9 bacterial overgrowths in your digestive tract. I'm used to seeing 3 or 4.
Wow.
4 of them have gone pathogenic, and they're attacking your blood, your liver, and your thyroid. You're in hyperthyroiditis and full-blown liver failure. If you thought you were dying, it's because you have been. And I collapsed and cried, and they held me up, and we all cried together. And he started writing me a protocol to heal that gut microbiome. And that's the root of the work that I do now, is that passionate moment. And I get choked up thinking about it, that passionate moment where somebody held me, and I thought that I was like, why does this keep happening? I've been to one doctor after another.
It's so frustrating. So frustrating.
It's very frustrating. And so when people come to me, I hold that knowing. I know that I've been like one of many, and what's going to make this one work, right?
Right.
What's going to make this one work? And so that's just part of what makes it work, is the love. Also the humility that like, okay, I'm going to give you information, and this is a collaborative approach, but I want to bring in your doctors. I want to bring in your specialists. And if it's beyond my care, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Sure.
Fortunately, a lot of times it isn't. And I love that for the people who don't have to do more. But I build their file in a way that's never been built. And now they have data. And so worked with the functional medicine practitioner, did everything he said to religiously, couldn't drive, couldn't get through a day without, copious naps, copious herbs.
Sure.
And it took me years. And I hit a place where it was so funny. People are like, you were obese and are inarticulate, and then you're emaciated and dying. And now you're like shouting this functional medicine stuff from the rooftops. We're kind of annoyed with you. Like, shut up. But at the same time, they're like, and tell me about it, because I got this issue.
Right.
And so I continued my education, my certifications, worked through the Institute of Functional Medicine and their coaching academy as well, worked in the diagnostic nutrition area. And through my practice over the last 10 years, I've had just the joy of seeing so many things turn around for people.
What a blessing.
Yeah. Well, renal failure turn around, dementia markers decrease. I'm like people walking with their cane are now walking on the beach, like life.
So you're changing.
Life.
It's changing lives. Well, I feel like even like with my autoimmune, going to different doctors, They've like tried to give me so much medicine or to numb. Oh, does it like you get like joint pain or swelling? I don't want medicine. Like just help me figure out the root of it so I can fix it. Like I don't want to numb it. I don't want a bunch of medicine. Like I poisoned my body for 12 years. Like I don't like to put anything bad in my body now.
Yeah, you've worked hard to recover and get to where you are.
And so it's like a whole different aspect. Like when you told me that, I was like, oh my God, I got to pick your brain. I'm so excited. Like after this, I totally want to work with you on that of just
I
like.
would be honored.
Yeah, like finding out even like, everything going on with my gut and the autoimmune and all that because it does affect, like sometimes I'll feel fatigue and people cannot tell. Like that.
You know why? Because you're a hummingbird.
Yeah, I just like, I shoot through it, but there's days where like I actually wake up feeling like shit. Like I don't want to do anything. Like I have no energy, all of that. And I push through it. But it would be really nice not to have to push through it and to feel like, and so it's just like getting to the bottom of it. So
I call you one of my bootstrap girls. You're pulling those bootstraps up really hard.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like in spite of not having the resources, it's let's pull those bootstraps up and do this thing.
Yeah. No, there's days where, or even like it'll give you brain fog.
Yeah.
Like my autoimmune, there's days where like I feel like I have brain fog and I have to like think extra hard. And it's super annoying. So do you have a practice in San Diego or tell us a little bit about that?
So I funny enough, I'm a bit of an empath. I'm very sensitive to things and people's energies. And to be able to really do the work, the funniest way for me to do it is over the phone.
Okay.
And so I need their heart and their head, right? I need this. And the phone, like people drop down. So Zoom, they're performative. In person, where our energies are kind of colliding, trying to find each other. You know, when you first arrive someplace and you don't really know somebody, there's a different energy.
Like your guard is up.
Yeah, then the drop in. And so I don't want any of that to participate. I want to get to their heart and their head. I want also to, as they understand more about me, then I earn their trust and they can share with me some of these funky little parts that get in the way of what they're doing in their daily life to interrupt their health.
And they
journey.
share that when their guard is down. And that makes sense on the phone.
Yeah. So the Zoom, the technology gets in the way. It distracts. People get funky when they can see themselves. The energy in person, also the commute. Like if somebody, so the great thing is we were in the UK last summer, and I was taking calls from the UK on WhatsApp, doing my clinical work.
I love that.
And so lab work, I either send them a kit to their house or I'm sending them to a LabCorp in their area. And so we can do all the testing. I mean, there's pretty much not much I don't do. And then, but a lot of times it's really a funnel of a few tests that really are the big impact players, right? That tell us so much.
Yeah.
I like to start people with over 80 data points of blood and urine because they're like, yeah, I had this checked and had this checked. And I'm like, let's check it full. Let's, when you want a whole picture, you need all the puzzle pieces or as many as possible.
Makes perfect sense, right?
And so we start with that. Stool, hormone testing, right?
That's another one I want to get done. It's wild how much I was reading that the other day. I was like scrolling on my feed and a video on it came up and it was talking about all these side effects from people's hormones being out of balance. I was like, wow.
Well, and it's funny because in functional medicine, we understand that functional medicine is root cause medicine. So if I cut my finger in the kitchen and I accidentally every day so if I cut my finger knows how to grow back together.
Right.
Your body knows how to work. Right. All the parts, autoimmune or not, it knows how to heal. The autoimmune is what is the little cut that you keep accidentally doing or the little bit of poisonous or toxin that keeps getting in the way so that it won't grow back. So if we understand that, so now what happens with hormones that really makes me crazy in the world is people want to go straight to the hormone. Well, that's like going straight to the symptom. I want to see the blood work because I want to see, your kidney filtration. So for instance, estrogen primarily detoxes through our monthly bleed or through our kidneys, through our urine. So if we have a kidney filtration issue, slowed kidney filtration, then we have an estrogen dominance sometimes backed up into the system, or that might cause a harder period because of it.
Wow.
But if we have that estrogen dominance, then we might be having like more cramping or, fibroids or sweats or, emotions, right? So if we can understand that. But the other thing too is people go, hey, doc, I have these symptoms. And the doctor says, oh, that sounds like you are low in these hormones. I'm going to give that to you. My problem with that is, are you not making enough of that hormone, or is your cell not receiving it? The receptor site on the cell. So imagine if this is like a very, 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 very small version of your cell. So you've got your cell, you've got all these receptor sites on it for insulin, for all the hormones, etc. Those become a little damaged. Those become interrupted. And so maybe I have tons of estrogen floating in my system, and you have plenty, you make plenty of estrogen. You're just not receiving it on the receptor site. And so do we need to go in and do a bit of a cellular detox and clean that up so that your body starts using it? Because if I'm a physician and I just prescribe estrogen to somebody who has plenty of estrogen in their blood, now we have estrogen dominance. What happens with estrogen dominance? Pro-cancer.
Really?
Yeah. So we need to know what's going on more than what's being tested. And this has been my complaint forever now with the medical system. And it's just a broken system. We have some amazing, wonderful, loving doctors who know I'm limited by these ways. I can't request those tests even though I want to. But what's really wonderful is then you get somebody like me who says, here's all the data. Now go take this to your general practitioner and we'll be a tag team. If they have an ego about it, that's okay. I don't have any ego. I'll still fill your head with all the information you need, and then you can sort it out with them. Right. So, yeah, because I'm not a doctor. I don't prescribe. I recommend. I don't have patients. I have clients. And those clients, I all know they're the expert of them. So it's looking at all these parts. Yeah. And the medical system has warranted this. There's more and more of me coming out into the world.
Which there should be.
Yeah.
We need that.
Yeah.
No, we need that. I love that. So we have about one more minute to wrap it up. I want you to take this minute to show us your book.
Yeah.
Tell us about it and let everyone know how they can find you on what social media platforms, websites, how to find you.
Okay. So the book, we'll start there. The book you can get on Amazon, and it's The Power of Inner Sparkle. And Lacey's chapter number 5 and I'm number 4. So she's backing me. She's got my back.
She brought me. That's my version.
Yeah,
so
this is your copy.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I was really excited because I didn't think you had one yet.
I didn't. No, I'm so excited.
And then on social media, it's Katy Rose effect, like a butterfly effect, because my philosophy on that is I can work with you and everyone in your family will start to benefit because you feel better, but also
100%.
You become more informed and having health sovereignty. And so you teach that information to those around you because we can't help but share it. I always think good health is like you're at a restaurant and there's this amazing plate that's been put in front of you and you're like, oh man, you got to try some of this, right? That's what good health is people just want to share it. So it's an effect that has waves. And so my name is Katy Rose, like the flower effect on Instagram. That's my website. And I do tons of speaking everywhere and anywhere anybody will let me talk about these passions, I'm there.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming today. We appreciate you. Love you guys. Bye.
Thank you.